Hey, Gene Paul and Frankie. Hey, thanks for tuning in, brothers. I appreciate it. Hope y'all having a great evening too. All right, Trinity Motorsports, what's going on? We just hanging out, having another hour's worth of chat. We'll get into her here in a minute. Man, this video is going way back. I got my green racing beanie on. Jay, what's going on? Bruce, thanks for tuning in, brother. Gene, I do not. I do not get any vibration off my one piece drive shaft. Now, you may get a little. It all depends how they balance them. I know DSS drive shafts do extremely well in balancing theirs. I can't speak for other ones because I've only had a DSS one from the drive shaft shop. Is where I got actually both of mine. When I had the HP70, I got that one from Mike, wide body Mike, and then I bought my HP91 brand new. But it's from the drive shaft shop. They do a great job. But that's not to say you might get a little bit. So just you got to be prepared, right? Nah. So Bruce, that's the age old question. For me, I had someone do them for me. But from what I've seen and what I've heard, you have to loosen up the motor mount to give yourself room to get that bolt in there. And you may have to not only loosen the motor mount, but maybe put a jack up under the engine as well. So yeah, that last bolt is extremely painful. Jay, I haven't seen Alex yet. He may chime in a little bit later. How much improvement you think a 309 will do on a stock shaker? Just finish helping Buddy get rid of his 308 open. So if we're talking about the track, it's going to help a lot. Um, it's going to help a lot. It's going to make sure he does. Obviously, he doesn't get the one wheel peel, right, or the one tire fire. Um, he'll be able to get a good burnout. Maybe get some ET stuff. Maybe half a tenth, maybe a tenth, depending on how bad his open diff was. Um, I would say at least depending on how he gets off the line, right? If he's getting traction, half a tenth, maybe a tenth, and that's just me kind of guessing, because it really depends on the track, right? and if he can hook on the track. So I don't have DSS half shafts. I have uh, red eye half shafts. So yeah, so the DSS I have is my drive shaft. Did I miss your actual question up above? No. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't have DSS drive shafts. I have Hellcat Red Eye axles right now. 14.3 was the best time so far. I'm guessing you guys are in some probably some bad DA, or you're in some altitudes. You're in some altitude somewhere. Um, but yeah, he he should prob he may gain a little bit more, a little bit more than that. If he's in decent, decent DA, even even in the 1500s, he should be a 13-second car all day long. So he could drop 3 or 4 tenths. Again, it just all depends. All depends on the DA and the track if he can hook up. North Carolina most never got off the line pretty. Oh yeah, so this will help. This will help quite. So this will help quite a bit. Now I don't know if he's on drag radials or if he's on street tires. That's going to make a difference too. But if he's on a set of drag radials, yeah, he should drop significantly. Probably a couple tenths off his 60. Just I'm guessing now off of a 14.3, but he should drop a couple tenths off his 60 foot, and probably 3 or 4 tenths off his ET. Yeah, Jay, I'm asking the same question. Yeah, Bruce, stick cars, man. The bounce and the spin is tough. It really is with a stick car. It's a whole different ball game between stick cars and automatics. The only thing I can tell you is look at the AAD stuff, and yep, your tire pressure and Jay's much more in tune with manual cars than I am. So Jay, if you want to help Bruce out, that'd be great. Your cat's destroying your house. That sounds like Bean destroying ours. He's over here laying down in his bed now. That's good. Yeah, Jay, but you got a lot of practice, man. It does take some practice with a stick car. All right, Gene, man, that's awesome. That is going to help you out significantly. I mean, the half shafts, that's just you don't want to break your axles, right? That's not going to get you anything off the line. It's not going to get you anything, in your ET. But those DSS half shafts are probably rated 1,000, 1,200, somewhere around in there. I've seen them. The drive shaft may help a little bit. It's not going to help a lot. But the cradle lockout, the AAD kit, and a diff brace are all going to help. I wouldn't say significantly, but it it'll help quite a bit getting the power to the ground. And that's what it's all about, right? You can have all the power in the world in your engine, but if you can't put it to the ground, it's all worthless. But the cradle lockout, the AD kit, and the diff brace, all three of those will definitely help put your power to the ground. Hey, he put one out there. I just hadn't watched it yet. I seen it in my subscription thing last night. I got to go back and watch it, Jay. I apologize. I haven't watched it yet, but I'll watch it tonight. I promise. All right, Jay. Now I see two videos. I'll go back and watch both of those videos. Yeah, Bruce. I think I've said this a few times too. I would have went turbo, but there's just so much fabrication that goes on, and other things you need with turbos, which goes into making them a little more expensive. But yeah, supercharger is much easier than turbos. Gene, 100%. All of that will help in your 60 foot. Like I said, the drive shaft and the half shafts, but the cradle lockout, the AED kit, and the dip brace, all three will help the 60 foot, which in turn helps with your overall ET. So a rough estimation, each tenth in the 60 foot is roughly 2/10 on your ET. So yeah, I mean, you may get a tenth out of the three of those. It just again, it's all about the track situation. If the track can handle it, and you can put the power down, they all three of those will help. Yeah, Bruce, I don't never turn on notification notifications, but I always looked in my subscription feed, and they're out there. Yeah, Jay, for sure, they're out there. I saw the one. I don't think I saw both of them, but now that I know there's two of them out there, I'll be looking for it. Grizz, do you know if a steering wheel sensor that is bad because the car caused the car to go into limp mode? Um, I do not. Um, but I would think just this is just me thinking out loud. Steering wheel sensor going bad might very well put the car in limp mode. I would think that would be kind of a safety thing, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that because I definitely 100% could be wrong. Um, but hopefully one of these other guys sees that question and pops in with it with a better answer than what I just gave you. Supercharger for boost is more practical. Like I said, Jay, you know the deal. There's just a lot of tweaking and fabrication and things like that when you go turbos. The Hellion setup is great. It is a great twin turbo setup, but uh, again, right, second part of that sentence, it's just there's a lot of modification to it. Three pedal J felt like a jackass the other day when the skip shift active. All right, Timothy. Oh gosh. There you go, Jay. There's an idea for one of you stick shift guys to make a video. Yeah, yeah. Jay's Jay's letting you know that's terrible. You definitely got to get rid of that skip shift activation stuff. That's one of the first things I hear all of the stick shift guys. That's the first thing they do is get rid of that skip shift stuff. Bruce, you still got yours. That. That's kind of surprising because usually that's one of the first things. Like I said, that's one of the first things the stick shift guys get rid of is that skip shift. I hear you, Timothy. Yeah, the clutch delay valve. Yep, that's another one I've heard that people with stick shifts get rid of as well. Got that? Oh, so Bruce, you got the eliminator and it still happens. That's. That's funny. It shouldn't. If you got the eliminator, it shouldn't do it. Ah, there's a little tech tip from Jay. That's awesome, brother. That's awesome. All right, so starting to slow down in the chat just a tad. So what I'm gonna do is, how many people we got? Looks like we got 7. So I'm gonna give you all guys a little spoiler alert. So here's the next thing we're gonna do with Shake and Bake. I already told you. So I already told you we're going with a 2-step. We're already going with a nitrous controller. What I haven't told you is this is something I haven't seen. I haven't seen anyone do it with a Pro Charger. So this is going to be interesting. Mac is totally sold that it's going to work. I'm not 100% good it's going to work, but it's for me it's an experiment. So what we're going to wind up doing is we're going to put on a wastegate and a boost controller with the Pro Charger. I haven't seen anyone do it on YouTube, so this may be a first for YouTube with a Pro Charger, putting on a wastegate and a boost controller, and all of that is one to help me get off the line better, build boost, so we can pop off the line a little bit harder. So if we can make even a couple pounds of boost getting off the line, I think it's worth it. But if we throw it all in there and it doesn't give me anything, I'm gonna be I won't be upset because I know it's an experiment, but I'll be a little upset if it doesn't work. But that's what we're gonna try and do. Now, whether it works or not, we're gonna find out. And if it doesn't work, I got a nice setup for when I switch to turbo. When I do go to turbos, if I ever go to turbos. but but yeah. So basically, we're gonna run the Pro Charger as if it was basically a belt driven turbo, which is kind of what it is. But that's the thinking is we run the boost controller and the wastegate to hopefully get us off the line. All right, back to the chat. Bruce to say it's probably a synchros. Could be. Brandon, do all 6 speeds have the CDV and skip shift? I believe they do, but don't quote me on that. Jay may have a better answer down below, but I think so. Timmy, all right. Timothy's talking to Bruce. Jay, uh, yeah, Jay, you knew what I was gonna say. But I may throw some teasers out there on Instagram too. I'm sure I'll get some flack for it, but I haven't seen it done. Max seems to think it'll work. Dave seems to think it'll work. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Bruce, Barton shifters are nice. They are. Yep. Uh, yeah, that's part of Bruce's problem is wheel spin, I think. Jay's asking what kind of tire. Yeah, Timothy. It's going to be interesting. I just think it's going to be interesting to see if it really does actually work like a turbo. We'll see. But yeah, if I can get, like I said, even a couple pounds of boost, and I can launch harder and get them 60 foots back into the 1.4s and maybe a 3. Yeah, it could be a good time. Oh, one thing I also forgot is I got a smaller pulley too, so we're pulling down, which probably should get me 2, maybe 3 more pounds of boost, give or take. Uh, Jay's asking what tire pressure. Timothy's saying not for me, Don. All right, brother. Um, yeah, right now I'm not launching off a boost at all. So Hugh, if you're talking to me, I always launch off of idle. So I've tried multiple things to try and spool up. We'll say spool up the Pro Charger. I've tried launching 2,500, 2,000, 1,500. I've even tried even up to 3,000, I think, once or twice. And anytime I tried to spool it up, and yeah, it just didn't work. I know someone's gonna say it's physics. I get it's physics, but I'm telling you, every time I spooled up, no matter what RPM it was, just didn't do anything for me. Another thing I also tried, in the event that it would work, it wound up not working, but also using launch control just to see if the car would build boost. And for whatever reason, however the car works, the launch control, it just wouldn't. It was in vacuum the entire time, so it wasn't building boost at all. So that's the whole reason for the setup. If launch control would have gave me boost, we probably would have tried that first, and if that would have worked, we probably would have stuck with. I wouldn't have spent the probably almost $1,000 on the boost controller and the wastegate, if launch control would have built boost. It didn't. I tried it a couple times in the parking lot just to see if it would build boost, and it stayed in vacuum. Bruce J, was it an Naturo tire you said a while back? Yeah, the AZ. Yeah, I see J down below. AZ 850s. That's what I got in the rear of my car for street driving. Yep, AZ 850s. That's what I got in the rears of my car. Hey, Mopar Matt, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. All right, Bruce and Jay going back and forth on tires. Mopar Matt's just chilling. That's awesome. Jay's got a great point. Everybody, almost everybody runs Mickey ET Street R's at the track. There's still a few guys that use Hoosier DBRs, but a majority of folks do run Mickey ET Street R's. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get another video going. Yeah, Jay, like I said, I've even ran it up to 3,000. It just, it, it never mattered. But we'll see when we put the when we put the boost controller and the wastegate on there. I'm crossing my fingers it'll work. Like I said, Matt and Dave both seem to think it's going to work. So we'll see. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. And if it doesn't work, hey Jay, I got you $1,000 boost controller and wastegate if you need one. Or I just may hang on to it and maybe go turbo, Jay. I may do that. Yeah, Gene, that's hefty. 4,500. That's a good launch speed for you there. Unfortunately, I can't get I can't get an automatic to run at 4,500. But yeah, Gina, Hoosiers are nice too on the track. Don't get me wrong, Hoosiers do work. They hook up too. I appreciate wheel spin. It means I'm not breaking anything. That's true. That's true. If you're getting wheel spin, you're not breaking anything. All right. Jay's partying with Gene, the 4,500 RPMs. That's the best way to go for stick car slicks. And I'm guessing they're probably bias ply. They're probably not radials. Is boost controller CO2? No, it's not CO2. Uh-oh. Jay, you switching to fuel tech, brother? I hear you. Mike said 18s would make our diff 411, so 17 will put your shoulders on the roof. Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, Hugh. Yep. So the bottle is there. So we're gonna throw everything at it until we get nines. We're gonna throw everything we have to. Yeah, that's I thought, Gene. You got the right setup, brother. You should be able to launch pretty good now, especially once you get the cradle lockout, the AED arms, and the diff brace. Yeah, Timothy, I think he's going full standalone. I think he's going full standalone. Yeah, yeah. Jay's getting real serious. Jay is getting real serious for sure. Yep, Jay. Yep. Tire diameter is 28 inches. Your 383 Super B had more pull than you do now. I hear you. I hear you, Bruce. But yeah, we're gonna put it together. We're gonna get it together. We're gonna get it tuned, dialed in on the dyno, and we're just gonna put it together and see what happens. That's the old school torque, 383. Yes, sir. Big time. Hey Jay, if you don't mind me asking for the fuel tech, what's the rough estimate of cost on that fuel tech to get everything you need? Because I know they don't do a plug and play. Oh man, this is going way back. I got those Hoosiers on the front. Them things were super light, by the way. They were super light. A lot lighter than the Mickey Thompson Sportsman that I got now. Yeah. Uh, uh, all right, Jay. I'll hit you up later. I'm just curious because I know Fuel Tech is out there, Haltech is out there, and I know Mike's had a hard time with Holly and trying to get their stuff. Who knows if Holly's ever going to put their stuff back out there again? Anyway, it'll be interesting to know, interesting to see. Oh, that's awesome, Jay. That's awesome. Jay's got a good one too. So mine doesn't necessarily buy the parts, but she lets me buy the parts. So well, she doesn't let me. We both have our thing. I think I've talked about this before. You know, the car and racing now is kind of my thing. And she loves to read and she loves to play games on her iPad. So that's her thing. And we kind of even out. I probably spend a little bit more than she does. But we we work it out 100%. Fuel Tech is very similar in price to Holly Terminator X, but you have more work as a hardened. Okay, I got you, Jay. Awesome. That gives me a rough idea what it would cost to go Fuel Tech if I wanted to. Would you guys buy used slicks at a car show? Nah. I mean, if they're in good condition and they got a lot of, I'll call it tread. If they got a lot of wear life left, if there's like the Hoosiers got the little holes in them, if they got some wear, some wear left in them, and they don't look too old and dried out and cracked or anything like that. I mean, if they, like I said, if they, I guess, all right, let's say this: if they look good and they got some wear left, yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't worry about buying slicks from car show. What are you doing? Oh gosh, the wife sneaking in, checking out B. He's in his bed, flipped upside down. All right, Timothy, there ain't no guessing. We're 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 both on top of the hill. How about that? We're both in our 50s. I need to I need to quit picking on those unsuspecting 300s. I know. You know the deal, Jay. I just line up who I line up against. It's just the way. It's just so much easier. It's so hard, even in a test and tune, to try and set up racing somebody. It's like, can you go around me? Can I go around you? Yeah, yeah. And the track doesn't help that much. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they won't. It just all depends. It's just so hard to line up races, especially when they're busy. They don't like to help at all. They just want to push people through. You not a Mopar guy, as far as I know, they don't have trans brakes. With a relay, a momentary switch, I can lock first and second together and launch up to the stall of the torque converter, 3400. Interesting. They are there are one or two people out there building trans brakes, but I'm not too confident. I'm not too confident in them. But I see what you're saying. Gene, I know you had a red eye drive shaft. That is correct. I did have the two piece red eye drive shaft, which will take a lot of power, by the way. So a while back, I drove the gray red eye that Mac works on and Dave tunes, and it's oh god, I can't remember what it put down, but it put down quite a bit, and it was on the stock red eye drive shaft, and I pulled a wheelie. I pulled a wheelie, so that red eye drive shaft will take a lot, and I am on a one piece drive shaft now. That is true. Uh, and why the one piece over the red eye drive shaft? Um, the one piece it is a one piece, so you don't have that middle CV joint to worry about, right? Um, so I know a lot of people do stick with the two piece drive shaft. I just think there's one less thing to worry about with a one piece drive shaft. And I'm sure with that CV joint, you're losing probably a tiny bit, not much, but anyway, I just think it's safer with a one piece. So that's why I got a one piece. All right, Bruce. 50s is the top of the hill. Okay. All right, Bruce. Am I still going uphill? Have I hit the downhill slide yet? Yeah, that's what I was saying, Jay. There's some out there, none that I would trust at this point. All right, Hugh and Jay going back and forth a little bit. 6 speed car should have a hand should have a handbrake. All right, Jay's talking back to Hugh about trans temps and trans brakes. Jay's going back to Timmy. Look at it like this. Now there's room for parachute mount and it won't look crazy. All right, Jay. Yeah, Jay said it much more eloquently than I did, Gene. That's why I went with a one piece drive shaft. Now, how much drive line loss there is with a two piece, right? You could kind of argue that point a little bit, but you have any plans for dragging? You know what? I would. I always keep forgetting about what is it? Rocky Mountain Drag Week. I keep forgetting about. I would love to go out to Colorado and do one of those drag weeks. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And I know Cletus, he does a couple of them. So he's in like sick week right now. I know he's going to Rocky Mountain race week. But I would love to do one of the drag and drive events. It's just I got to remember soon enough to sign up to sign up for one. Because by the time someone says something about it, we went out and did it. By the time I go look and see if I can sign up, they're already sold out. But I would definitely love to do one, um, for sure, for sure. I would love to do one. Blown Dart might do the Hot Rod Power Tour. All right, maybe I'll look into that one. I got to look into something because I would love to do one of those drag and drive events. Blown Dart make our own drag week. We should, right? We got enough people. We probably could make our own drag week. Yeah, Sick Week is going on this week. I've been watching some of the videos too. A lot of good things going on. But yeah, yeah, I think, man, Jay, if we could get at least some of the crew to do a drag and drive, that would be awesome. Yeah, Matt, it's like I said, I just gotta start checking earlier so I can sign up for some of these things. Jay, I think if we go, we can help each. Well, no, I guess you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. That's a good point too. I'd have to do everything. I may be able to find a helper, but more than likely, I'd have to do everything myself. But really, all I'd be worried about is my main concern is probably belts and just swapping the tires out. Um, Driving from track to track, taking the Mickeys off, putting the Mickeys back on. I wouldn't worry about the fronts. I would leave the skinnies on there. But the rears I'd probably swap out just so we didn't get a flat tire while we're driving. But I could probably do it on my own. Mopar week at the beach. Where's that at, Blown Dart? Serious note, we have streetcar bragging rights in May down in South Carolina. Okay. Myrtle Beach. All right, I may look into that, Blown Dart. Gee, you still got 2 feet of snow. We've been extremely lucky this year. It's been so nice. I'm knocking on wood. It's been so nice the past couple weeks. It's been crazy. The only snow we've seen so far is just a dusting on the grass, and that was it. And literally, it was gone. It was there in the morning and gone by the afternoon. Uh, this one's drag race season in your area. So March 5th. Literally right around the corner, man. We're what 2 weeks and some change away from the first test and tune at MIR on the 5th of March. I know there's some other ones. Atco's first one, or Cecil's first one, is the 12th of March. Um, and there's some in between there too. So basically, the 5th of March is when we plan on starting. So hopefully everything goes well. Mac finds the time to squeeze me in. We get everything installed we want to get installed, and then we make it happen. Lone Dart starting this weekend. That's awesome, buddy. South Carolina is where my dad plans on cruising his 50 Pro Touring Chevy. Nice, Timothy. That's awesome. So DMJ, if y'all want to go. Oh, it won't be done this year. Maybe next year. I got you, Timothy. Blown Dart Piedmont Dragway. All right. Eighth mile. I I don't mind doing eighth mile. It's just yeah, it is what it is. Eighth miles for me anyway. It's not quite as fun because it's not as long. But I don't mind doing eighth mile. All right, Jay. I hope you get your stuff in this weekend too, and possibly get a start out of it too. That'd be great. Got a 3-ton Daytona long reach jack. Is it true I can lift front oil pan? I know it's cast. I wouldn't do it, Bruce. I wouldn't do it. I go to both sides of my car on the front. Now, I have lifted mine. I have lifted my rear by the diff. It's not easy, but I have lifted the rear by the diff to get both the rears off. I have lifted it in the middle of the car to get one side, both front and rears off. I've done that a few times. But yeah, I would not try and lift the front of your. Yeah, Jay's telling you quick. Don't do it. I would not lift the front off the oil pan. Yeah, blown dart, absolutely. Eighth is a good shakedown, right? You can really get. A good shakedown, get the car dialed in at least on the front half, right? And then worry about the back half when you hit the quarter mile. Yeah, it is good to test at the eighth, especially if that's what you're worried about, the front half of the track. Gene, he doesn't open to the last Saturday in April. Well, you're a little bit further north there, Gene and Gene Paul. You're a little further north up there. Yeah, Jay, I don't really like using the diff. Like I said, I've done it a couple times, but it's I don't like doing it. MIR is only 400 miles from you. That is quite a drive for opening day. That's a long drive. Yeah, Timothy, you know it. You know it. And that's 100% why I run the Mickey Thompson's Sportsman's, even though they weigh 51, I think it was like 50, 51 pounds a piece. That's why I run those, so I can put them on and I can run them all summer and not worry about it because they are a street tire. Now I will sometime, most of the time I drive with the Mickey Thompsons on the rear. Sometimes I swap out. It just kind of depends on the weather. If there's a slight chance of rain, I'll drive down on the Mickeys, and if I have, I'll take the street tires with me and change them if I have to. But yeah, I've tried to get away from changing my tires every time I go to the track. Mopar Matt, Diablo PCM will be in next week. Nice. At what point in the build would you suggest a dyno tune? I plan on doing email to start. Here's the deal. If and this is just my opinion. Some will agree with me, some will disagree with me. But if you're not going forced induction, you can get away with email tuning and have a pretty good tune. Would you gain anything from doing a dyno tune? Maybe you could gain some stuff off a dyno tune, but if you're straight NA and you're not going forced induction, in my opinion, all right, obviously dyno tune is always the best way to go because you get there, they do it, you're done for the most part, right? There may be a little back and forth after doing some track runs, but that's the nice thing about a dyno tune. You get there, they tune it, your car's done. Where email can take a lot of back and forth depending on your modifications. But Matt, if you're staying NA, you can get away with the email tune and be absolutely fine. Jay had my car running great on email tunes for the long. Even after I pro charged my car, he had my car running pretty well. Then we ran into kind of some snafus, and that's when I switched to Dave and went to a dyno tune. But I think NA, you're fine with the email tune. If you go forced induction, my suggestion would be to go to a dyno tune after that. So maybe you can save yourself a little money, Matt, and not do a dyno tune NA and just stick with your email tune. Bruce doing headers. Yep, yep, yeah. That's those headers are tough, man. Az, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you chiming in. Yeah, Jay's got a good point too. Uh, Dyno is, a lot of these guys do also do some drivability stuff. Dave is good with not only dyno tuning the car at wide open throttle, but he also adds drivability in there also, especially if he knows you drive your car. on the daily, like I do. Hughes thanking Jay. Jay's talking to him, talking to Heavy Power. 309, 6.4 intake right now. Plan on doing headers by May. With with that, Matt, I would just stick with an email tune. To be honest, I would. I would just stick with it with the email tune. No sense in spending another five, six, seven, $800, depending on where you're at. Could be more than that for a dyno tune on an NA car. I think you'll be 100% fine with a good email tuner, and there's a lot of good email tuners out there. I would save your money. I just don't think it's gonna get you much if you're already got an email tune and then go to the dyno. Unless your email tuner is gonna let you come to his shop and he'll put it on the dyno for you. That's different. Then maybe you could do it. But if your email tuner isn't close enough to where you can go to him and him or her put it on the dyno, I wouldn't do a dyno tune. I would just stick with the email tune. Jay's saying the same thing. Gene, no, I'm not running the new motor. So the plan is, so right now we're still stock bottom in. The plan is, like I said a little bit ago, trying to go. My plan is to go at least one or two nines on the stock bottom end. Once we do that, I may run it. If we hit the nines in the beginning of March, I may run it a few more times just because it's great weather, and I don't want to be down for 2 to 3 weeks in great weather. And then probably more towards the summer, late spring, early summer, make the swap to the new engine. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate it, man. Makes me feel good when you agree with me. So now it makes me sound smart. Friend just bought a 5.7 300. Needs a basic bang for your buck bolt on list. Z, it's the typical stuff, man. Depending on what year it is, he's gonna have to get a PCM unlocked so he can tune it. Um, you can do a cold air intake. I don't think you're getting a whole lot out of that. You can do a catback exhaust, long tube headers. Um, you could do the 6.4 intake manifold. You can get a ported throttle body. You know the deal. It's the typical bolt-on stuff is really all you can do. Um, so I guess there's kind of my list, Z. All right. Jay's talking about a lot of coin when you aren't forced induction or cam swap. Yeah, you could also do a cam Z. Um, Cam, long tube headers, catback exhaust, maybe a cold air intake, ported throttle body, um, and a 6.4 intake manifold. Big deal. I used Tune. All right, big deal. Yeah, we know Mike Stark ain't tuning anything. He may get you running, but he ain't tuning it. Yeah, Matt. Just to be my opinion. Yeah, if you're just with those minimal mods, even all bolt-ons, as long as you're NA, stick with the email tune. Once you go boost, then I would go dyno tune. All right. Hemi Power and Jay going back and forth. Bruce, isn't Dyno cheaper? 450 green tune and 570 Hemi feeder for a header tune. Uh, yeah, it depends where you go, and who you got and how far you got to drive, Bruce. But typically, dyno tunes are more expensive than email tunes, and it's usually by a few $100s. When I say a few, I'm talking three, four, $500 more for a dyno tune. MU Powers, Jay, bring the gas, buddy, and he'll take you for a ride. You're gonna need plugs. Take up their time. I hear you, Timothy. All right, Matt. Yeah, if I would just talk to Hemi Fever, right? And say, hey, what's your prices for email? What's your prices for Dino Tune? And maybe you just do. I know it's tougher. Do all of the modifications at once, and then you can do a Dino Tune. Because normally when you get a Dino Tune, if you make another modification that needs an updated tune, you got to buy another Dino Tune. Where most some maybe most email tuners, if it's just a minimal modification, they'll do updates for free. Hemi Power 87, right, brother? That's pretty funny. I'm sure you're running 87. Bruce saying 350 to 400 for a tune. Yep. Yeah, Hugh. That's yeah, and you know what? Even if you go, even if you go boost, some email tuners are good at boost as well. And really, if you're not trying to squeeze every ounce of power out of it, I think you're good with an email tune. But my opinion is once you go boost, I think you should do at least one dyno tune and then get some updates if they let you. Throw up in mouth after hearing that octane number. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. All right. J and Z going back and forth. 93 E mix daily 109 for the track. No more Q16. Yeah, that Q16 is expensive. MS 109 is expensive. That shit's expensive too. For those that had Dino Tunes, how much did it cost? I'm not gonna put out what I paid for Dino Tune because Dave gave me a good deal on Dino Tunes. But Dave usually charges $600-700 for a Dino Tune. Um, I know like HHP and some of the heavy hitters, they're super expensive. They're like close to a grand or a grand plus for dyno tunes. So it can range. It can range a lot. All right, we're running down to the last few minutes here. Z's talking about his pump gas setup for the street. Gene, are your fronters? No, not anymore. So I went with Mickey Thompson Sportsmans and their radials. They're literally no kidding, a skinny street tire is basically what they are. And like I said, I only did that because I don't want to change the front tire. I don't want to keep changing the front tires anymore. Blown Dart, what brand automatic transmission fluid you run. So I run the Dodge's transmission fluid. Uh, I've heard, and many people have told me, especially wide body Mike, that you can't interchange the transmission fluid in the HP series because it'll muck up your transmission. So I just use the Dodge transmission fluid, the Dodge OEM transmission fluid. So Jay is 100% bias ply. Hey, no problem, Z. That's what this is all about. We're coming right up on 10 o'clock. Jeans bias ply front and rear, nice. I'm with you, Jay. All right, Bruce. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Cursed C8s. I hear you, Timothy. All right, Z. We'll see you next time, buddy. All right, Timothy. You have a good one too, buddy. We're gonna call it a wrap here. Oh yeah, Hugh. 2K is expensive. That's expensive for a dyno tune. All right, Blown Dart, you too, buddy. All right, we're right at 10 o'clock, folks. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you guys and gals, if there's some gals out there that watch the channel, goes through those terrible ads. I 100% appreciate it. I really do. And those that are signed up as members, I appreciate it. Like I said, you can sign up as a member. I don't do anything special for members. It's just a way for you to support the build if that's what you want to do. If not, it's not a big deal. I'm still gonna build because we that's what we do. We build and we test stuff. Um, but again, I appreciate each and every one taking the time. Whether you bring it up on your computer and just let it run, or you actually watch the videos. I definitely appreciate it. Shake and Bake definitely appreciate it because y'all know every red penny from YouTube goes right back into Shake and Bake. You guys have a great night, great rest of the week, and we'll catch you next week in the chat. Adios.